Welcome to Living Healthy Chicago. I'm Jane Klaus. We're starting today's show talking about vertigo. It's a condition that can have a significant impact on how you live your everyday life. So I'm heading to physical therapy and balance centers to learn more about what can be done to relieve symptoms. If anybody has ever had vertigo, you know how awful it can be. But for those people who haven't, explain what vertigo is.
So vertigo is essentially a false sensation of movement or spinning. It occurs when these crystals in our inner ear get dislodged. It's very common that it gets triggered by positional head movements. So a lot of times it happens when you're lying down, maybe looking all the way up or looking all the way down with your head. So vertigo itself is technically a symptom and not a diagnosis. So the most common thing that we see is BPPV, which stands for benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. Positional vertigo happens when these crystals in our inner ear get dislodged and they start floating around in these semicircular canals in our inner ear.
Do we know what causes it?
We don't necessarily always know what causes it. There are instances where there is an inner ear infection or some head trauma, and that stuff makes sense because something like that has caused those crystals to be dislodged. But at the same time, there are a lot of instances where people just come in and they don't know what triggered it. It's one of the second most common complaints heard in doctors' offices. And positional vertigo is the most common of those complaints.
If they're experiencing the unbalance or dizziness, when should they seek medical attention?
If they have that sensation of spinning, I think the sooner the better, and especially because it can be fixed.
It's treatable with some different types of movements. How does that work?
So essentially what we're doing is we are taking you through a series of head movements to basically bring those crystals back around the canal and back to their home where they're supposed to be. It's important to know that not all vertigo is treated the same in the sense of if it's in a different canal, we would do a different maneuver to treat it. And that's why we do kind of recommend seeking, a professional's opinion. That way we can diagnose which canal it's in. Today
you've got a couple of exercises to show us that would then treat positional vertigo in different parts of the ear.
Correct. So what we're going to do first is we're going to check for the right posterior canal. So I'm going to turn your head about 45 degrees to the right, and then on my count, we're going to fall back and let your head hang off the table, okay?
Yep.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Come on back down with me. Relax your neck. And right now what I'm doing is looking for nystagmus in the eyes, which would be kind of some rapid movement, and right now everything looks pretty good. If you'd like next, I could essentially show you what the maneuver would look like to treat some of those more common types of vertigo.
Perfect, let's do it.
So we're gonna turn your head to the right, we're gonna fall back, we're gonna let your head hang off with me supporting it. Then the next position I would do is while maintaining her in full extension, I would just rotate her to the left. You are going to turn onto your left side and your head's gonna be looking down at my feet. Ready? Right there, perfect. It would not be uncommon for there to be dizziness in this position. We essentially wait for those symptoms to pass, and once the eyes and the dizziness has settled down, that's when we determine when we move to the next position.
And is there a name for this maneuver?
It's the Epley maneuver.
So those are great exercises to do for treatment, but you have some ways to manage symptoms at home.
Correct. So a lot of times you can't always get in right away for treatment, and if that's the case, then we don't want you to, just constantly be in this state of dizziness because it is unsettling. Back is flat against the chair. Your arms are on the armrest, your feet are flat on the floor, and then a lot of times we just do some breathing techniques. And so you're just trying to kind of ground yourself by increasing your points of contact to something that is not moving. And then the last thing is just kind of fixating on a point. Fixating your gaze on that point will actually help kind of calm the symptoms down as well.
What's the one thing you really want everyone to remember?
Well, I want people to understand that it is common and it does affect a lot of people, and even though it can be super scary when it first happens, it is treatable.
Clayton, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. If you want more insight into the world of health, just head to our website, livinghealthytv.com. So you like that, and now you want more information about living a healthy life? Well, we've got you covered. Just check out the other videos on our channel.